Protesters in Armenia have called for the Prime Minister to resign, saying his government failed to support ethnic Armenians in the Nagorno-Karabakh crisis. Demonstrators say separatists in the breakaway region were forced to surrender to Azerbaijan after Baku launched a military operation earlier this week. Nagorno-Karabakh is internationally recognised as part of Azerbaijan, but it's home to a population of ethnic Armenians who declared independence in 1991. Well, let's talk now to Carey, who's a former US ambassador and the co-chair of the OSCE Minsk group. Welcome to the programme. Good to have you with us. Put this into context for us, if you can. Nagorno-Karabakh, of course, a disputed area for some time. But what caused this latest escalation?
Well, interestingly, following the report you just said in Ukraine, in part Ukraine, Russia's distracted, the world's distracted with Ukraine, and I believe Azerbaijan chose this moment to make a final push to take back the small part of land that had remained outside of their control. They knew everyone was in New York. All the leaders were focused on what to do with Ukraine. And as an added sweetener to them, they, in effect, did this operation on the eve of Armenian Independence Day.
There is now a ceasefire in place with reports of some violations. Is there a chance that it could work?
There's a chance it could work because the ethnic Armenians in Karabakh really have no ability to defend themselves. What they found in the military action this week is within 24 hours, Azerbaijan had overwhelmed their position. There's about 2,000 Russian peacekeepers there. They did not engage at all. Russia is sort of wiping its hands of this conflict. And it was either surrender, agree to a ceasefire, or risk your population being killed. So the issue today is about 120,000 people are there. Are they going to stay under Azerbaijani rule, or are they going to leave? And I think that's a troublesome question because it reeks of potential for ethnic cleansing, if not genocide, of the Nagorno-Karabakh population of ethnic Armenians, which goes back for centuries.
We have seen some talks taking place between the two sides, along with Russia's peacekeeping mission. What's been the goal there? What's come out of those talks?
The talks, so it was 2 hours today, and I think, in fact, it's just beginning to get a framework. The message from Azerbaijan was they had blockaded Karabakh for the past 9 months. We'll provide fuel now, we'll provide humanitarian aid, food, and medicine. And I think the leading questions from the Karabakh side is, what are you going to do for the people? If people wish to leave, can they leave? How do they leave? Are soldiers going to be allowed to leave, or are they going to be taken as prisoners of war? The Azerbaijan government declared this week's activity an anti-terror operation. Does that mean they don't count them as soldiers because they don't represent a recognized country and they see them as terrorists? And if that's the case, they don't fall under the Geneva Convention. So there's a lot of humanitarian questions on what will happen to the 120,000 people living there today. Azerbaijan says they can live there as regular Azerbaijani citizens. But it's very hard if yesterday you were fighting, today that fighting ends, and you're telling them you'll have no trouble, everything will be fine now.
Carey, former US ambassador, great to speak to you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Robin.